Singer-songwriter, producer, and writer. She is the editor of the New York Times bestseller Because You Love to Hate Me, author of children's book You Will Do Great Things, and founder of AMERIE's book club, a book club that highlights diverse and unique perspectives and voices. Tonight, she debuts her first adult fiction novel, This Is Not a Ghost Story. Please give it up for Charles Yu and AMERIE.
Woo! Hey! Hey!
Confronting one's own faults and misdeeds and the healing power of friendship. The title, obviously, is This Is Not a Ghost Story, which is very catchy, but if it's not a ghost story...
I think it's really a story about finding yourself, I think. Thank you. Because anything that John goes through, like being a ghost, it's pretty much the same thing that we all go through, especially I think in this age of social media. We're so used to seeing ourselves at the same time that you're used to seeing how other people view us. So I don't think there's really a lot that's so different from what he's experiencing. I think ultimately we're all here to figure out why we're here, what we want to do, like how we're aligned with whatever our path is, the people that we meet and how they play a part in that. So I think it's really a very universal story for anyone. It's very existential.
It is very existential. It's, I think
things, but there's so many other things that I do know, right? So I started there. I started with John being a ghost, because I also wanted to write about like a big what if thing. So it was like, what if, I don't know, what if zombie apocalypse happened right now? What if an alien ship came down like right now? So I combined that with the things that I know very much. Like a publicist thing, I understand that completely. If you would put me in a label or whatever, a company, I can tell you what everyone's doing. I was like, all right, well, if this big what if with the ghost and he came, like you could see him, it's not like this questionable thing, like you can see him, what would that be like? And I was like, well, some people would doubt it. It'd be like, is this like, Chris Angel thing, David Blaine thing? What is it really? Is it like a deep fake? Like what is going on? False flag, whatever it could be. And then I just went from there. And then I was thinking, well, if he's really walking around and he came to Los Angeles, he's gonna be spotted probably, and they're gonna think he's doing a thing. So I was like, all right, well, an assistant of a publicist, a major publicist, probably, they're always trying to just scope the scene. That's how he's spotted. And then, he comes in and then it's like, okay, you're doing a thing. What are you doing exactly? And then you go from there. Yeah. But I had...
Specifically, and I don't want to, be careful not to spoil it, but John is not just the world's first like kind of living ghost. He's also a black ghost, which I think there's layers to this book. And so it's about visibility in some ways, and the Hollywood satire, and I think the culture we live in of like commodifying people's celebrity and commodifying this kind of this person, but then there's another layer, which is that John is also a black ghost. I mean, could you talk a little bit about that, and maybe again with the intersection of your experience, in terms of being a person of color in the public spotlight, being biracial, if that was relevant at all to this book, or in terms of what people see and don't see, I guess.
I'll answer that, but then I also want you to answer the same too, because that's a great question. I think it also intersects with Interior Chinatown as well. For me, I felt like him being a black ghost, especially a dark-skinned black man, would certainly play a part in how the world received him. Like, there's just no way around that, right? Any of your physical characteristics, anything, it's just going to change everything. So, of course, dealing with the invisibility, a certain level of invisibility, and so some of that was the metaphor, too. He is a man, he's a black man, he's dark-skinned, and he's the only ghost to come back from the other side, which are, people are going to automatically, sometimes it's almost like this Messiah feeling. There's this trickery, and is this person of the devil? And it all does intersect with the fact that he's black. So he's also coming back, remembering his experiences as a black man and what that would mean. And some of it he forgot because he was in his own oasis for so long. But coming back and interacting with people, that's when, of course, you start to see yourself and how other people would. How many books are we allowed to check out? And I would check out so many different books. My parents let us just read whatever. I think it was less of them making like on principle, being like, you can read whatever you want, and more of kind of like, hey, it's the library, it's books, like it's cool, whatever she got. Because I was like, you know, it was like witches in there. There was like some occult stuff. Like
Publish my book because I am a famous singer. No, but like you said, you have the validation knowing that you did it the right way.
Well, even the book that my agent was like, yeah, this thing, it almost got published. Thank goodness it didn't, though. But I mean, it didn't get picked up either. So it wasn't like good enough. So everyone's different. Some people think their first book, it goes. With me, it's not that. I signed with my agent in 2012, and I did do an anthology, YA science fiction fantasy anthology called Because You Love to Hate Me. And it was like a take on villains, because I love villains. I'm always kind of like, look at the other side of things. And then after that, I did I've contributed various short stories to other people's collections. I did a picture book, which I didn't think that was going to be like my first book that wasn't an anthology. But I mean, that was 2012. And now it's 2025, and this is my debut novel, you know? Took a while.
Also, it sounds like you work with people like in a writer's group. Like, I really have to like commend you for like being such an amazing literary citizen. I think that's such
thank you.
You know, special thing for someone, you know, of your like profile to promote books and
like,
to,
hey,
not just
read.
your own. Yeah.
I like to read a book.
I think that's really wonderful. How do you balance it all? I mean, so you said you need a block of time, and you're working on things now. I guess one question, I already sort of asked you how you work, but like, do you feel like, you know, you have to shut the world out to write, or can you kind of?
Actually, I don't know, because I feel like that's what's going on now, is I'm figuring out that balance. Because really, for music, like, you know, when I said I started in 2010, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be writing a lot, and then 2012 I was like, I'm gonna get an agent, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of books out, one book a year. It can take me like, because it can take me about like, to do, if I'm really doing it every day, I can write a first draft in like 4 months. Like Alexa actually can write really fast. Her draft, yeah, you can't. I was like, no, seriously.
Do you find yourself often kind of revisiting these same kind of emotions and feelings that you have as a separate artist? So would you cover, I guess, themes of loss in your book, as well as revisiting it in your songs? Or do you find yourself finding more of your songs as an uplifting medium and your books as more of a medium to kind of like create middle ground in between feelings, I suppose?
That's a great question. You know, I think about it as all being me, so I don't think about like branding anything separately. But I do feel like when it comes to music, it's very romantic. I do think that in my music I can tend to be very optimistic, because I'm an optimist. I want like that feel good love, all of those kinds of things. So my music tends to be very optimistic, and even for me, my own personal non-negotiable for the upcoming album was that it's romantic, it's sensual, it's either soundtracking your love or makes you want to be in that kind of love. When it comes to writing, it's very different actually. So for writing, I'm all about like, this is the truth of life, and it's like you gotta like get it in your face, which is why like I wanted to do the Because You Love to Hate Me anthology. Not just because I'm like, oh, what do the villains think, but because I'm kind of like, well, really, what are villains? You know, there was a period of time where I kind of was so in exploring moral relativity. I wasn't sure if there was any such thing as good or evil. I was like, I think things just are, because what is really good? What is really evil? When people do really terrible things, and we say that's evil. Is it evil, or is it that they kind of lost their way a little? Like where are these lines? And so that's what I like to explore in my writing. I like to face, I tend to like to grab the yuckiest thing, the yuckiest like emotion, the thing that we think is that we label as being so terrible, taboo, terrible, and I like to put it there and explore it and be like, is it really? And then why is it that way? If it is, why is it that way? And then really, it's like when, you know, the scene where Tony Montana is like, he gets up in the restaurant and he's like basically saying, I'm the bad guy. But people need me. Right, exactly. Tony Montana is one of my favorite characters. People are like, what are your favorite movies? I'm like, Coming to America, Casino, Scarface, what are your favorite shows? Like Sopranos. It's like, why are you all these gangster things? Because I think I got like a soft spot for them. But because I also feel like a lot of time it finds its way into like the stories that I'm writing. That's also why it's tricky when you're writing a book that takes a long time, because it's almost like you're looking at your past self and you're like, oh, that's cool, but now I think differently about this thing, or that's great, but I feel differently about the other thing. Because they're really just, I mean, whether it's music or books, they're just things that encapsulate where you were at the time, like what you thought about, what you were exploring. But for me, to me, I don't like to do a lot of answers. They're not like, this is how we should live. It's more like questions. Yeah, just questions. Thank you.
Speaking of,
Hi, AMERIE. Thank you. I really wanted to share that. We actually met you about the festival book USC.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, good to see you
I know,
again.
great to see you again. I thought we were matching too.
Now I got I know it's kind of like got that black on.
Well, I was noticing you were wearing black the last few days, and then when you were wearing it.
I did. That's right. Because I wore white on the black on the red carpet, and it was like a cream, almost white.
Yeah.
For the performance.
Yeah, you look amazing.
Thank you.
You've been looking amazing.
I was like, I was backstage just rehearsing. The groups, guys walking like this, and I was like, I've been to thousands. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm doing this until we hit the stage.
We're in every season, and so happy. Like, literally, no joke, you're my favorite artist of all time. Literally, like, earliest memories, like, all I have is my favorite album.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like very big for me, and also when you said the Guamanian, I'm actually black and Guamanian.
So you're like, not man,
Kind of adjacent, you know?
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so huge fan because I love it, even the mixtape. I don't think I've missed anything. 4 a.m. in Mulholland, one of my favorite songs of yours ever.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of wanted to do a part 2. Like I've talked about it, but I feel like I almost have to like.
Some books I have to read.
I don't know if I need to redo part 1. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe I should. You think I should redo part 1?
Yeah, I was just saying,
and do part 2.
I know.
Just do part 2.
It's so interesting to me. So I'm telling people are like, oh, where's AMERIE? I'm like, she's been here. Y'all have not been paying attention. Like, go listen to
I
what
was
she's
kind of
done.
like just putting it out, you know, but more quietly. Not this time.
Please.
No, this time it hasn't been so quiet.
I love that. Actually, you've been in the studio with Black Tuxedo. We're friends of
Yes. Oh,
yeah, Dom and Derek.
great. They're awesome.
I can't wait to hear whatever y'all done.
So
Hopefully,
you
that comes
heard
out.
their album, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, can you send me the link so I can listen to it? And I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're changing around a couple things. So the link was like,
I can't wait to see it. I'm literally like, W is easily one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, I thought Flow, I could go show me, literally, just like me. I wish that when I get married, I want to have my first dance just like that. So, huge influence on all.
I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I know I can throw away and see, but yeah, thank you.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Cool. That's all.